Hey everyone, so today I just want to give an update on the education resources proposal we had in Fund 5. So for that proposal, we had an objective to improve the education resources within Project Catalyst. So that mostly really went around the documentation that was involved. And as a result of the work we did on that proposal, it became clear that Gitbook was a really suitable solution and potentially even for the long term. And to see like a demo of the Gitbook that we kind of started to see how that might look, you can go to resources.projectcatalyst.org. And if you also want to see the analysis of why Gitbook was a really good solution, then if you check our YouTube channel, it's the first video we published. So the issue we had with completing this kind of work to see find Gitbook as a really good solution is how do we actually make that change happen? How does the community kind of change the tools and processes that are managed by IOG? At the moment, after starting to go through that process, we realize there's no really process for IOG to self-govern ideas for making minor improvements that are suggested by the community at the moment. And there's also no governance process in place to make these kind of bigger improvements. As an example, this documentation change, or for instance, it could be a parameter change in idea scale or something like this. And for the bigger changes, it could be changing a tool completely, such as using another tool as well as the Catalyst voting app, for instance. And the reality of the situation is it's much easier to add new tools and processes than change existing ones because of this. So for instance, if you look at things like Catalyst Swarm, Catalyst School, the community advisor tool, a lot of these things didn't exist before. So it made them a lot easier to add into the ecosystem and the processes rather than trying to change existing things such as how IOG documents things, how IOG runs idea scale, and the things that they kind of are maintaining and have custodianship over at the moment. So the reality of the ecosystem that is that IOG is going to be the custodian of these core tools and processes for a while longer. And there's this need for governance for changing this existing ecosystem of tools and processes. And our approach so far for trying to get this proposal across the line is we've shared with the Catalyst Circle to discuss, but that process doesn't resolve consensus. So I could present an idea and it doesn't matter about the quality of the idea, is that at the moment, Catalyst Circle would like to see some form of consensus before they act on anything. Although the issue with that is it has a few flaws that the person presenting the solutions and ideas for change shouldn't really be presenting the consensus results as well and be the ones who have ownership of that consensus, because there's obviously a lot of room for malicious actors and doing something unfairly there, as well as also that person being the deciding factor of what consensus means, saying, let's say if these two community groups agree, then this means this is consensus and this should be endorsed. So the reality of what is kind of needed here is that anyone should be able to present an idea or solution. And the important part is consensus. It's not who brings the idea, whether it's one person, a group of people, or the community. It's for those given ideas, how do we come to some sort of consensus of the importance of that idea, and then also the consensus of whether we're actually going to act on it. So looking forward, adopting Gitbook as a documentation tool for education of Project Catalyst isn't really a high risk change. There's no development required. It's using the existing tool and it can be changed quite easily. So at the moment, I see there's two kind of options we could go down to resolve this. So option one would be that IOG review this internally and decide on the proposal to use Gitbook for documentation themselves because it's not a large change. And option two would be to do a community vote on the proposal using some simple tools like Google Forms, whilst we don't have any of our own kind of setup tools for the minute. So the kind of choice of whether you use one or the other is, if for smaller changes, it might make it easier for a self-governing group to make their own decisions. And for bigger changes that we decide are more meaningful, those would be more useful to do in community kind of settings. So it takes in more kind of a democratic kind of wider decision. And for the Gitbooks thing, I could see it being in either category. For brevity and speed, it could be done in the option one with IOG doing it, but there's also merit to doing it in option two. I think it's there's no right or wrong answer for this specific change that I'm suggesting. So what's next for us on this proposal? So we need to present this need for this governance process to make changes to IoG tools and processes, both this kind of need for the internal kind of IoG kind of tools and processes, these smaller changes, and also that at the end of the day, we're going to need this kind of larger change for ecosystem changes sometime soon anyway. So we will share an update with the result of that when it's done, and then we will take it from there and hopefully we'll get this proposal across the line. So that's it for this one. So thank you very much for watching. We will catch you guys in a future video. Thank you very much.